Hello everyone, this is Stacy. I'm going to work through about 6 of the genetics problems that we're not going to talk about in class. So this will be a review if you still struggled with some of those genetics problems that were on your Chapter 14 homework. So if you look at question number 2, that one deals with polydactyly, and that's saying that's when they have extra fingers and toes, and it's due to a dominant gene. And so if you take a look here, it says that the father actually has that trait. And since it's a dominant gene, we can assign either the homozygous dominant genotype, or we could assign the heterozygous genotype. And so individuals with both of these genotypes here would have extra digits. And so the mother, it says then, has the normal phenotype. So then the normal is actually the recessive. And so the normal would be the homozygous recessive genotype. So remember, recessive normally means that they have to have 2 copies of that recessive allele to actually show that trait. So on here it says that they actually have one normal child. Okay, and so that piece of information is going to help us figure out that this is actually what the father must be, rather than this one here. So basically, if we have a father with this genotype, he must pass down that allele to his normal child. And then, of course, the mother, that's all she has to give. So she's going to give one of those recessive alleles as well. And so all you need to do then is kind of fill these in. So the genotype of the father is the heterozygous. The mother, actually being normal, has the recessive, just like you and I do. And then the probability that the second child will have the normal number of digits. Go ahead and cross this heterozygote to the homozygote recessive, and you'll find that there's a 1/2 probability of getting this genotype here. Okay. So moving on, question number 3 has several different parts to it. I'm going to work a couple of these. So if you look at 3B, we have this genotype here crossing to this one. And remember, I'm a huge fan of the shortcut. So if you cross these A's in a Punnett square, just a small one with 4 boxes, and we're looking for this in there, you'll see that 1 out of 4 of those boxes will be this homozygous recessive genotype. And then if you do another Punnett square with the B's, and we're looking for this in the boxes, you'll find that there is a 1/2 probability. And so the very last step then is to multiply these together. So 1 times 1 is 1, 4 times 2 is 8. And so that problem, that answer is 1/8. Further down, there's one that's a trihybrid. So notice we're looking at 3 possible crosses, basically. And so if you cross the A's to the A's and look for the heterozygote in that Punnett square, you'll see 1/2. So again, go ahead and reduce it down from 2/4 to 1/2. That'll make your job easier later on. Go ahead and cross your B's to your B's. And in the Punnett square, you're looking for this, and we'll see that 1/4 of those. And then lastly, if you cross your C's to your C's and look for this, you'll see that there is a 1/2 probability there. And so again, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, and then 2 times 4 is 8, times 2 is 16. So there's a 1/16 probability of getting this genotype when you're crossing these 2 parents. Taking a look at question number 6, we're looking at horses. And so we've got 3 possible phenotypes. So we have a cremello, which is just kind of a light cream colored horse. We have a chestnut, which is just a dark brown. And then we have a palomino, and a palomino is basically a hybrid of the two. So it'll have that brown chestnutty color in there, but then it also has the cream or the white in its tail and its mane. Okay, so it's definitely, the Palomino is a mix. Okay, much like the roan that we looked at in class, roan horses, roan cows, where both colors of hair are present. So the first thing you want to do is assign some genotypes to each one. And I don't care what letter you use. If you want to do, you know, the cream, if you want to assign it the homozygous dominant, the chestnut, if you want to give it the homozygous recessive, that's fine. Just make sure that the Palomino, since it's a mixture, that it actually is the heterozygote. So make sure that it actually has one dominant and one recessive allele. Just understand that this example is codominance. Okay, so the cremello and the chestnut genes are really both equally being expressed. Rather than incomplete dominance. Incomplete dominance would be probably kind of a light brown color. So it's an intermediate in between the two. So this is co, meaning these are equal. So then the last part of this, you have to cross a chestnut to a Palomino, which is really easy once you've assigned these genotypes. So if you use this genotype for the chestnut and this one for the Palomino, and we want to know the probability of getting Palomino horses, that would be 1/2. Okay, so if you take a look at question number 7, the key is already given there to you. So we have, basically, we're looking at rabbits again. And so we have basically some incomplete dominance going on here, where we have normal legs, deformed legs in the heterozygote, and then the homozygote recessive actually produces a lethal gene. So really that's what's special and different about this particular cross here. We also have, again, incomplete dominance over here. So we have black and white, and then the heterozygote produces an intermediate. It produces brown. So it's incomplete dominance plus a lethal gene. So I've got a couple things that I'm piling on you. And so it says to actually cross 2 deformed-legged rabbits. And so if you just take that, ignore the B's for right now. So cross the C's in the Punnett square, and we want to know the probability of giving normal-legged rabbits, which if we use our key here, we're looking for this. And so actually I'm going to go ahead and draw the Punnett square so that you can see how the fractions are going to be a little different. So there's our normal rabbit. Here is a deformed-legged rabbit, another deformed-legged rabbit, and then this box here is going to produce a lethal, meaning these rabbits would not fully form, and they would die either during pregnancy or they would be born stillbirth. And so this lethal, taking that out, now instead of having 4 possibilities, we only have 3. And since we're looking for the normal, it's really going to be 1 out of 3 possibilities instead of 1 out of 4. And so I think that might have messed a few people up. Then if we go ahead and cross your B's to your B's, and again, we want to know the probability of getting the white rabbit in there. So again, if you do your Punnett square and you're looking for this in there, you'll see that there's a 1/2 probability of getting that when you cross these 2 B's. So again, 1/3 times 1/2, and so the probability of getting normal white rabbits, because that's what they would want to sell at the pet store, is a 1/6 probability. Okay, so I think a lot of people had 1/8 there because they weren't taking into consideration that lethal. The last one is, again, another rabbit question, and I had given you the key to work with in class, so that's what this is over here on the side. So this should look familiar to you here. Okay, so this is a multiple alleles type of inheritance. So it's similar to blood type. It's just another example. So it says 2 Himalayan rabbits are crossed. So if I look at my key, I know it has to at least have 1 allele that codes for that Himalayan hair. Okay, and then there's going to be something else here. And so Himalayan could actually be CHCH, so it could be considered the homozygous dominant. It could really also be heterozygous, meaning it has one Himalayan allele, but then since it's dominant over albino, it could actually be masking that in that other location. And so we have to look at the offspring to know which one it's going to be. So sure enough, it says that you get Himalayan rabbits in the offspring, but you also get albino. So in order to get an albino offspring, which is the recessive, okay, we know then that each of those parents must have been carriers of that albino allele to pass that down. Okay. Another question then says a black rabbit is crossed to an albino. Okay, so if I at least put that black allele in, this really could be anything here. This could be another black allele. It could be a chinchilla, it could be a Himalayan, or an albino. It could really be anything here because that black is dominant over everything. So as long as there's one gene coding for that black coloration, it's going to mask whatever is at that other gene location. So since it's crossed to an albino, okay, albinos are only created when there are two recessive alleles. So if we look at the offspring, it says that they are either black or chinchilla. And you might be thinking, where did that chinchilla allele come from? Well, that must be what this other blank is here. Okay, so if you needed to do a Punnett square, just to double check, all of these letters here travel together. So even though there's 3 letters there, this represents one allele that would be found in a gamete. So let's say that that black rabbit is the female, those are her egg cells. And then if the male that she got together with was the albino, so here are his sperm cells. There's the flagella. So you could go ahead and fill in that Punnett square so that you can see why we'll either get black or chinchilla rabbits out of this cross. So here are just a few of the questions again that maybe were not the most commonly missed questions on the homework, but I just wanted to provide a resource if you needed to go back through and see how these problems are worked. Definitely, you have the advantage here. You can, stop the video, pause it, rewind it, come see me in the Academic Achievement Center if you still have questions about any of these genetics problems or any of the other ones that you might be working on in preparation for our exam on Monday. So thanks for watching.